You are now tuned into Selflessly Selfish Podcast, where best practices are shared to help you improve self-care and live a balanced life of joy, love, and abundance. I am your host, profoundly unforgettable, the resource you seek, Master Life Coach Teresa Webb, here to encourage, motivate, edify, and inspire you to become the best version of yourself. Welcome back, those of you that are returning, and those of you that are here for the first time. Thank you for allowing me in your space today. Today is episode 4, and I am so excited, and I am glad to be with you once again. And I wanted to share just a little bit about Coach. Not sure how long that's going to take, but that's what we're going to do today. I want to tell you a little bit how I got started and how I got to where I'm at today. And to let you know, the person that you see before you right now is not the person that I was even 8 months ago. I started out on this journey because I had been working, jobs, not too many jobs. I'm not a person that go from job to job, and not to say there's anything wrong with that, because we have to find out, what we're meant to do, what it is that we're good at. And I only had 2 jobs within the last 30 years, I would say. And just working those jobs, I just felt that there had to be something more that I was meant for, something more that I had to do. I just wasn't fulfilled. I don't know if you've ever felt that way, or if you can relate to, you're grateful for the job, but you just feel like that you're meant for so much more. You're not finding the joy that maybe when you first started doing it. You just feel like there has to be something more that you're meant to do. And that's how I started to feel. But what? That was the question, what? And so I went on this journey of exploration, and I ran into a childhood friend, and they were doing extremely well. Had some rough times in the beginning of life, but things had totally turned around. And I'm like, what did you do? And it was one of the questions that, was posed to me. It's like, you got to find that thing that you do so well. You do it so well with the least amount of effort. And I started thinking, what is it? What is it that I like to do? What is it that I enjoy doing? And I know some of you are going to say, okay, Coach, I do a lot of things well. So what still is my purpose? And let me ask you this. What's the one thing that you do so well, you enjoy doing it, and you'll do it for free? You do that thing so well with the least amount of effort, and because you love it so much, you do it for free. Now, the second part to that question, because you're so good at it, people are willing to pay you for it. Is it something that you do so well that's in demand? Because I'm a firm believer that you're not going to have a purpose that doesn't allow you to also make a living. Right? I hope I'm making sense. I hope you're following along with me. Okay. Fast forward. So I started thinking of those things and what is it that I like to do? And then I realized that it's something that I had been doing my entire life. I enjoy encouraging people. I enjoy speaking. I enjoy interacting with people. I enjoy seeing people at their absolute best. There's not going to be a time where you're going to be in my presence and I'm not going to be able to speak life, to give you hope, to encourage you, to uplift you. That's what I enjoy doing. It's like, well, what type of job is that? Are you a motivational speaker, Coach? Some may say so. Are you an inspirational speaker? Some may say so. I like to say that I'm a transformation coach that specializes in the area of self-care. And that's where I'm at today. I had to learn how to take care of myself so that I can be there for others, because that's what I so enjoy doing. And you can't be to the point where you give out so much of yourself and you don't put back in. You have to be able to do those things for yourself that's going to allow you to walk into your purpose. I shared on the last episode that self-care was your social, emotional, spiritual, and physical. And I left out a very important area of self-care, and that's also our mental. We have to make sure that we find balance, at least try or attempt to find balance in those areas when focusing on self-care. And again, our social, physical, spiritual, emotional, and mental. Let's try to find a balance in those areas. And that's where I started to work. And I started to look at my life and see, why is it that I was not walking in my purpose? And what I found is I was focused so much more on others than I was myself. And I know that we ought to think on others more than we do ourselves, but that doesn't mean to neglect yourself. Focusing on others or thinking on others more than we do ourselves, and not thinking more highly of yourself than you ought, doesn't mean neglecting yourself or thinking of yourself as less. We still have to do those things that are required to make sure that we are at our best. You're going to hear me say that over and over again, because I love you and I want you to take care of yourself, and I want you to do those things that you need to do so that you can continue to walk in your purpose and be there for the ones that you love and those that love you. Coaching is just an aspect of that, because it allows me, again, to be there for others and to hold you accountable in those areas that are going to allow you to walk effortlessly in your purpose. So how did I get there? I had to first acknowledge where I was at. I had to first acknowledge, how did I even get there? And how I got there was I spent too much time, again, focusing on others and living in my past, and not acknowledging that there was more required of me. And in order to do so, in order to move forward, I had to forgive myself. Forgive myself for the things that I didn't know. Accept the fact that I could not change my past. I talk about that in my book. By the way, those of you that have not purchased my book, 8 Keys to Improving Self-Care and Living a Joy-Filled Life. I want you to check it out and let me know what you think. You're going to hear and you'll read about how I got to where I'm at today, how I started the podcast, as well as how I'm able to live a life of joy and abundance. Am I where I want to be? No. Am I where I used to be? Absolutely not. And I want to say to everyone that's also watching or listening, walking in your purpose, deciding to make those changes, deciding to focus on yourself and give yourself the care and attention that you require, doesn't make you better than anyone, but it certainly makes you better off. I know, because I've had that. You'll have so many people that start to think that you think you're better, and that is absolutely not the case. Practicing self-care and putting yourself first, being able to say no, being able to give yourself the things that you need so that you can be at your best, so that you can become the best version of yourself, no, does not make you or myself better than anyone, but it absolutely makes us better off. I can say that I feel 100% better. Just knowing that I'm able to do those things, that is making a difference not only in my life, but in the lives of others. I appreciate each and every one of you that are joining in, whether you're watching or whether you're listening. And I want to encourage you to go forward, to continue to show up for yourself. Show up. There's times that you're not going to feel like it, but that's where our discipline has to kick in. And discipline is one of the best forms of self-care that we can give ourselves, a form of self-love. It's getting up and doing those things that we don't feel like doing, but we know that it's required of us, so we push forward. I want to share that with you as well. Completing the book, starting the podcast, getting myself familiar with how these different things work in regards to social media and all of the platforms. When I tell you that I am in my most uncomfortable state, but it's a good uncomfortable. It's the kind of uncomfortable that I'm enjoying navigating. So I want to tell you, give yourself a chance. Give yourself a chance. Don't give up just yet. Stay focused. Yes, I'm uncomfortable, but I'm going to lean into it. I'm going to lean into it because I enjoy being there for you. I enjoy sharing how I got to this point and just encouraging you to let you know that if I can do it, that you can do it. I heard this from someone a few years back that said, if it has been done, that means it can be done. And that's what I'm saying to you. Don't give up on yourself. Stay focused, stay the course. If you keep applying yourself and you keep showing up, it's gonna happen. It will happen. I'm a witness of that. I am a witness. I'm excited about the things that are to come. I'm excited about just starting the podcast and being able to show up for others and show up for myself and be an example that just a shift in our mindset, just that shift, just making those changes that need to be made, that you're able to do those things. You'll be able to show up. Just tell yourself that quitting is not an option. It's not an option. And you're going to be able to do those things that are required of you. Have patience with yourself. Leave space for grace. Will every day work the way that you plan it to? Absolutely not. There are going to be days that you feel like what can go wrong will go wrong. But you keep going. You keep going because you remember why you started. You remembered why you are here. That is just it. That is absolutely it. Remember your why. Keep it before you. And you'll be able to press through. You're going to be able to do this. We'll navigate this journey together. And we will go forth and know that in the end, we won. We won. Don't worry about the naysayers. Don't worry about the people that are unable to see your vision. Don't worry about the people that don't get on board, that are not able to understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish or what it is that you feel that you've been called or chosen to do. You can't worry about that. There was a reason that the vision was given to you. Now, the question is, can you be trusted with it? Can you be trusted with it? Are you able to grab hold of the reins and go forth with what you've been given to do? I say yes. I believe you can. Focus on what it is that you are here to do. And everything else, you just got to let that fall along the side. You got this. I had to let go of my past. In order to do so, I had to forgive everything and everyone. And that included myself. When I tell you forgiveness is a very powerful resource that most will neglect to take advantage of. The fact that you can forgive others and forgive yourself. And half the time, if we truly acknowledge what we're forgiving someone for had absolutely nothing to do with us. It had nothing to do with us. A lot of times people are going through things that they will never, ever discuss or share with you. And you just happen to be caught in the crossfire. I can certainly say that. A lot of relationships, a lot of friendships, a lot of business decisions and things that I made in my life, at that time, I was not in a good place. I was not in a good headspace. I was not in a space where I could give to myself what was needed. So I certainly couldn't give to them. And a lot of relationships was mishandled. And for that, I apologize. And I forgive myself, and I hope that you can forgive me. Our mindset and our thought process is so important. When we decide to walk in our purpose, we have to make sure that we are not saying anything or thinking anything about ourselves that we wouldn't say or think about the people that we love in our lives. We have to keep a positive mindset when it comes to accomplishing our goals and becoming the best version of ourselves. In order to dispel the negative, we have to replace it, insert a positive. Anytime you're feeling in yourself that you can't do something, you have to know and say to yourself, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. With God, all things are possible. Tap into your source. We have to make sure that we are taking advantage of every resource that we've been given. That's something that I didn't do. Open up your mouth, speak up. When you're needing assistance and you're needing help with something, don't just assume that others will know that you are in a space. Don't just assume that others will know what it is that you need. Speak up for yourself. That's also a part of self-care. Being specific and stating what it is that you need. And when you're needing help, being humble enough to accept it and acknowledge it. I'm telling you, no one got to where they're at alone. With that being said, you need a support system. Surround yourself with people that allow you to be exactly who you've been called to be, that are going to encourage you. Iron sharpens iron. That's it. Iron sharpens iron. You need a support system. You need people in your space that are going to hold you accountable. And when you're having those moments, they'll allow you to have those moments. And then they're going to say, okay, it's time to get back to it. They will allow you your space and your time. Because we have to acknowledge the headspace that we're in. We have to acknowledge that. And then once you've acknowledged that and you've allowed to be whatever it is to be, then they're going to also hold you accountable and let you know that it's time to shift. It's time to get back on course. It's time to complete what you've started. It's time to move forward and do what it is that you need to do. They'll love you enough. They'll love you enough to give you that space and time, but they'll also hold you accountable. And that's having people in your space that you can trust and know that they mean well, that they're not doing anything to tear you down, but they're only trying to build you up and uplift you so that you can become the best version of yourself. So that's forgiving ourselves, forgiving others, holding ourselves accountable, thinking positive, replacing the negative thoughts with positive ones. It's all a part of self-care. Those are just a few of the things that I had to do, because I did mention there's 8 keys that allowed me to move forward and live that joyful life and improve my self-care. I'm going to share those with you. And as I stated, we're going to go deeper into each chapter. I thank you for allowing me today in your space. Those of you that are watching and those of you that are listening, remember that you are worthy, that you are loved, you deserve love, and every good thing that awaits you. Stay hopeful and take action.